democracies.
That was Paul Ryan. Well, is the president's retraction or explanation going to be enough to satisfy his Republican critics in Washington? Is Republican commentator and former speechwriter for George W. Bush, Anneke E. Anneke E, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
What do you make of, first, what he said yesterday and what he's now saying?
I think that what he's saying today shows that it is a major concession for him. He's not known to be a leader who apologizes or says he got anything wrong. More often than not, he's more likely to double down on his statements. He's more likely to tweet something out saying, I was right, and here's what the real problem is. And they're he's very much interested in reiterating his position. So saying that he accepts that is pretty significant for him.
We can assume that quite a lot of people have had a word in his ear, can we, in the last 24 hours?
Oh, definitely. And it started previous to the 24 hours. It was his own director of national intelligence, Dan Coats, came out with a statement publicly asserting that the national intelligence community was in the right on this issue, which is fairly unprecedented. And the intelligence community in the United States is very invested in this issue because of why even the director of national intelligence who came out with this statement was created. It was because of failure of intelligence in the wake of 9/11, and that happened. So for the president of the United States to undermine that and publicly, while standing next to the leader of the country that did interfere with the election, it's fairly mind-boggling.
And when you look at prominent Republicans, we just saw a clip there of Paul Ryan. How many others who perhaps up until now have kept quiet if they've had reservations about Donald Trump have chosen this moment to speak out?
Well, what you'll see is something like Senator Mitch McConnell, who's the head of Republicans in the Senate, coming out in a press conference and saying as close to criticism as he will really get of the president as a fellow Republican leader, saying something like, well, it's important for our allies to hear from us. So the Hill was very much recognizing that young democracies, as Paul Ryan was saying, former Soviet satellite states who are still seeing the effects of Russian interference. Think about Ukraine, for example. They have occupation issues right now, and Russia hasn't gotten out of Crimea yet. They need to hear that the United States does not agree with what Trump was saying, and then for Trump to come out and say, I misspoke, I would say means that other Republicans don't need to continue to rebuke him.
Does this then change in the future, do you think, the relationship between the White House and Capitol Hill?
No, not at all. And I would say that the White House definitely understands that what the Hill was doing was a type of damage control that would hopefully limit the mistake that was made.
Okay, so nothing will change longer term, but it's been an interesting 48 hours.
Definitely. What may happen long term is you'll see more action on the Hill towards reassuring the American public that regardless of what the White House may or may not say, they are focused on the 2018 election's integrity.
Okay. Thank you for coming on, Republican commentator Anneke E.